Hey there to all you star hopping followers and Kissimmee Park Observatory followers out there. I wanted to break the silence and let you all know what I've been doing for the last couple of years, and I have an announcement to make you all aware of. But first of all, let me say that I'm really appreciative of the continued growth of star hopping and all you've done to support that. Let me share what you all have done together in the last couple years. We're now pushing 1,300 subscribers on the channel here, and the watch time on the channel is approaching 7,000 minutes per month based on a little less than 2,000 views per month. We're still growing by about 20 or 30 subscribers a month. Even the Star Hopping podcast has had over 1,000 downloads so far this year, which is 2019. This growth rate is the same as it was when I was producing videos on a regular basis. It's also really neat that on Google, if you search for the keyword star hopping, we're on the first page of the results. And if you select videos for the same search, we completely dominate the results. Correspondingly, sales of my book, A Year of Star Hopping, still continue at a steady pace, with the Field Notes ebooks also being purchased regularly. The star hopping platform is certainly paying for itself, and it's self-sustaining at this point, and this is all thanks to your continued interest and support. So this just all amazes me. What I've learned through all this, that if you put out lots of good, useful content out there, it will organically grow without any additional help. It'll be supported by the community that it serves. I've really not advertised star hopping at all in the past 2 years, but its reach continues to grow due to your continued watching and interaction with the videos, podcasts, and support material. And for that, I am very appreciative and very thankful. So it's been nearly 2 years since I've created episode 62 of Star Hopping. Time certainly flies. Many of you have been reaching out to me with your comments and requests to bring star hopping back. But I don't want to get everyone's hopes up at this point. That's not what my announcement is about. I intentionally did not brand this video as something like a star hopping update or use the branded video thumbnail because I didn't want to deceive or mislead anyone. So here's the news that I wanted to share with you. So I've pivoted a little bit. Throughout my life, I've been oscillating back and forth between astronomy and music. I've been into music for around the same time that I got started with the little 2-inch refractor telescope that my uncle gave me when I was about 10 years old. I was also playing my saxophone in the school band and was taking guitar lessons at the same time. But from about 1980, I started writing music and playing in rock bands regularly. And all the while, I was going on astronomy expeditions and going to star parties with my best friend, who was also the drummer in my band. And not surprisingly, many of my musical originals were all essentially space rock, musical concepts around space and astronomy. So the pendulum of my interest tends to swing back and forth from astronomy to music. Certainly during the last few years, the pendulum has been pointed to astronomy, and I spent all my energy into creating all the star hopping content and marketing it on the internet. And together, you and I, we made that successful. This type of campaign does take an awful lot of effort and time, so that's all I focused on for several years. But now the pendulum for me has swung back to music, and I've been doing that since finishing the last round of star hopping. For the last 2 years, I've been playing again in a rock band around Central Florida. But recently, I've been thinking about a concept of creating a music platform on the internet similar to that of star hopping, but focused on my music and that of a few other artists. I wanted to create a self-sustaining platform that will make my music available and preserve it over time, and hopefully allow it to be enjoyed and let it impact people in a positive way. So as with star hopping, this is going to be a multimedia approach with a central website, a supporting podcast, and an email list. This main music platform website is called Procyon Music, and you can find it at procyonmusic.com. There's a mailing list there that you can join, and you'll receive information about the music platform, the artists, and free music, very similar to the email list for star hopping. The accompanying podcast is now available on all the major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Stitcher, and several others. There are several musical artists on the platform with styles fitting into musical genres such as progressive rock, world music, and new age, then some basic rhythm and blues. My own music, under my own name and my pseudonym, The Orion Syndrome, is progressive rock, similar to Pink Floyd, Rush, the Moody Blues, and Genesis. So I've created 9 albums over the years, and in the podcast, I'll share it with all of you, playing every single song in its entirety, interspersed with my commentaries and stories, in a format that will remind you, I hope, of 70s and 80s album rock radio stations. As with any artist's music, some of it is kind of personal, and I'll get into some stories about my life and experiences. Now that's not always easy for me, as I'm generally a private person. But as I said in episode 000 of the podcast, I think that's going to be necessary to allow you to really understand the music and the stories behind the music. Now, certainly I don't expect all of you to be interested in this, but I wanted to let you know what I've been doing and also wanted to invite you to join me in my new musical endeavor. On the Procyon Music site and in the podcast, you'll certainly find the familiar delivery that you've seen on Star Hopping. I do open each podcast with my hey, hello, hi, welcome. So if you've enjoyed my presentation style on Star Hopping and maybe enjoy space rock music that sounds like Pink Floyd, Rush, and the Moody Blues, I invite you to join me on my musical journey on Procyon Music and the Procyon Music podcast. So here's a taste of my music. This is a music lyric video for one of my songs called Meteor Storm, which commemorates the intense Perseid meteor shower of 1994. It comes from my concept album called Encounter with Infinity, in which I describe through music the experience of going out to an organized observing session with friends. In the album, we start by checking out the weather, then loading up the telescope, heading out to the observing site, enjoying sunset and nightfall, then watching some intense meteors, that's this song, then taking some astrophotos of celestial targets. So here's an excerpt from that album. This is Meteor Storm. So what do you think of that? I'd love to hear your comments on my new direction. As I said, I know that everyone will not be super excited as you've been coming here for astronomy tips and tricks. But I'm hoping that now that I'm transitioning from sharing astronomy information to sharing entertaining stories and music, you might want to come along with me and learn about my musical history. I will reserve this channel on YouTube for pure astronomy going forward as I capture video related to astronomy events. For example, there's a cool transit of Mercury across the sun coming in November, and I will try to have a video for that. But all my musical endeavors will be based around procyonmusic.com. I may create a music channel on YouTube to support music videos. If so, I'll make that announcement on the Procyon Music site and in the mailing list. So I look forward to seeing you and interacting with you on my new music endeavor, the Procyon Music platform and podcast. Clear skies.